guys, and thank you for watching my videos. I am going to put this video in the how to coupon beginner series, and this is going to be like an introduction episode 0. I should have done this in the beginning, but I just didn't really think about it, and then I started thinking about it and I'm like, I should definitely let you guys know how and why I started couponing and why I continue to coupon, because a lot of my videos I talk about charity a lot and a lot of stuff that I do for my nonprofit, but there's kind of like a backstory to it. So I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know how I started couponing, why I started couponing, and why I continue to do this. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, if you hear noises in the background, that is Miss Daisy. I am filming during the day, so hopefully she'll be a little quiet. I did cover her up, so let's keep our fingers crossed that she doesn't start squawking. How I started couponing. We'd have to go back. Growing up, I'm an only child, and I think only children get a bad rap. Of course, I was pretty spoiled because I was the only one, of course. But my mom was a single mom. We lived with my grandparents and my aunt. I grew up in California, so it's a pretty expensive state to live in. And we were always really thrifty people. My mom worked long hours. Everybody in my household worked except my grandma. She was a housewife. And we always saved money. We always went to thrift stores. We always went to yard sales. It was like our thing. And finding that like $80 item for like $1 or 50 cents was huge to us. And I think it was always the hunt. So I've always been a very, very thrifty person. I love yard sales, and I still love thrift stores to this day, and I love going. I left the house when I was probably about 18. My family was very strict, like super strict. So couldn't wait to turn 18, couldn't wait to graduate high school, start the second chapter in my life. After I left the house, I got a full-time job, and I was going to school at night. I met a person, and we were in a relationship for probably till my mid-20s. The relationship was good at first, and then it turned really, really emotionally, physically, and mentally abusive. It was horrible. So luckily, I don't know if this is luck, but in California there's just no way for one person to make an income to support the whole entire household. So I was lucky in that sense where I still was able to keep some type of independence. I was still able to hold down a full-time job. So, you know, still had to work. There was just, when you're in that type of relationship, I was pretty much just working and handing over my paycheck. So, one of my main worries, I think, I know, in that relationship was making sure the rent was paid. Worrying about getting a 3-day notice. That was always a huge worry. Making the electricity, the lights, and there was food in the house. That was another worry. And my last and final worry was clothing and necessities, because I gave over my whole paycheck and I would literally have to beg for money to buy shampoo, conditioner, all that good stuff, you know, like necessities and stuff. So in my mid-20s, I kind of like, enough was enough, and I left that relationship. And I was very, very fortunate because I had a really great group of friends at work. I wasn't allowed to have any friends. My family relationship was really severed. I hadn't spoke to them in a long time, and I got kind of isolated. So with that being said, when I left, it was a lot of work to rebuild those relationships with friends, and especially my family. I mean, everything's great now. During that time, of course, I met the love of my life, who is my husband. He's awesome. He's very supportive, loving, caring, giving, anything any woman would ever want and more. So I'm very fortunate with that. So when I was rebuilding my life and finally got everything in order, and me and my husband are married and we're happy and everything, and so the dog keeps barking outside, that's why I keep looking. I was off because I work in, we work in two different industries. So the industry I work in, we are off from Christmas Eve all the way till New Year's, and it's paid, but we have to give up some holidays for that. Like we don't get Veterans Day and stuff like that off. Certain holidays we don't get off because we choose to have a Christmas break, which is great for us. And we're always really busy. Like my husband and I we're always really busy. And there was one particular day we weren't doing anything. He had to work, and so I said, okay, I'm gonna clean. It was right before New Year's. I was like, I'm gonna clean this whole house, and I'm gonna have dinner for you. I was gonna be like a whole Stepford wife thing. And he's like, oh, cool. You know, I get homemade meal. The house is gonna smell good. Da da da. He goes off to work, and then I wake up, and I'm a pretty early riser. I like to get up early and get my day going. So I get up, and I was like, okay, it's too early to start cleaning. I'm gonna watch TV for like 30, 40 minutes. So I started turning on TV. We don't watch a lot of TV. We do have like Dish or whatever, but don't really watch a lot of TV. Turn on TV, and it's the TLC's Extreme Couponing, and I was like, I like free. I like free stuff. I want to do this. How come I can't do this? They're doing it. I want to do it. So, of course, I didn't do anything that day. I didn't cook. I didn't clean. I didn't do anything. My husband gets home from work, and he's like, huh, no hot meal, no clean house. And so he's like, what's going on? So I'm like, no, come here. You got to come over here. You got to watch this. So he's watching with me, and he's going, I don't know. I mean, these people are in like Idaho and Iowa and Minnesota, and they're like, you know, out of state, out of our state. And he's like, I don't see a lot of California couponers. And I was like, well, if they can do it, then we should be able to do it. Like, that's not fair, da da da. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And my husband's like really, he's just like he's like my biggest fan. He's like a really big cheerleader of mine. So he's like, if you want to do it, do it. And I'm like, okay. So if I do this and I save our money, I save us, like, I cut our bills in half, like with food and with like necessities and stuff. I want something. And he's like, okay, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I want an Alma. And he's like, oh God. And I'm like, I don't know if you know what an Alma is. An Alma bag is a Louis Vuitton bag, and the name of the bag is Alma. You can probably look it up online. I love that bag. So I was obsessed with that bag for the longest time. And so I started couponing in January, about 4 years ago, almost 4 years. This January it'll be 4 years. So I started couponing in January, did all the research, went all online, and it's difficult in California because, like I said, a lot of our coupons aren't the same, and our policies are different, so it's a little bit different. Still got it to work. I went a little crazy, so I had a lot of those plastic shelving, and they were all bowed in, and you know, all that good stuff. So I ended up getting metal ones because they were way better, but I still have one lonely plastic one and then one over there. But this whole room was completely full, and it was probably end of April. And I get, you know, he comes to me and he's like, this is great. Like, I'm really proud of you. You cut our bill in half, blah, blah, blah. I got the purse. And I was so obsessed with it, I still wanted to keep doing it. I'm like, no, I need to keep doing this. And he's like, it's great that you're doing all this, and I love it, but we're out of room, like literally out of room. And half this stuff you won't use. And he's like, and I don't use it because he's brand loyal on a couple of things, and I'm brand loyal on a couple of things, and it's just a couple of things we won't use. But I was getting it because it was free. So he's like, either you stop and we start using all this stuff, or you figure out what we're gonna do with it. And I was like, okay. So then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I could have a stockpile sale, a yard sale on Saturday, and sell all this stuff and make some money. And so I thought about that, and I was like, well, usually every weekend we're pretty busy, and we've always been like charitable people. We did a toy run every year. It's the same thing. We did toy runs, we did back to school runs. We always donated as much as we could. And so I gave some to my family, and then I gave some to my friends, and then I gave some to the neighbors, and it really didn't make a dent. That's how much stuff I had when I first started. So then I was like mulling over what I was gonna do. Like, what am I gonna do with all this stuff? So then I was on my way to work, and I was running late. I was like, I don't know, like 20 minutes late or something. Now I was like 10 minutes late. And I was like, oh God, I gotta stop by the post office and drop these bills off, because I had some bills that I had taken the day before, and I was like, I'll drop them off on my way after work. And I never did it. So I'm like, I gotta drop it on my way to work. And luckily on my way to work, there's a post office. So I pull into the post office, and in there is, like, outside the post office, there's a homeless man. And I'm like, oh God, he's gonna ask me for money. I don't have time for this. I don't even have no change. Like, I was just like thinking like, oh God, no, I don't really, I really don't want to do this. I'm running late. And I had pulled money out of the ATM like the night before, but all I had was 20s. So I like dropped my package off, and then my envelopes, and then I walk out, and he's like, excuse me. And I'm like, I don't have any money. So, I just kind of like blew him off and just said, I don't have any money. And so he says, I didn't ask you for money. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? Like, I didn't really like understand what he was saying. He was kind of like mumbling. So then he said, I didn't ask you for any money. And I said, okay, how can I help you? And he's like, I'm hungry. So I like kind of stopped, and I was like, oh my God. So I felt bad. I felt really, really bad. And I said, okay, well, I wasn't going to let him in my car because, he's a man, he's a stranger, I don't know him. So I said, wait here. I'm going to go and get you some food, and I'll be right back. I thought to myself, 10 minutes, I was already late by 10 minutes, and at my job, it really didn't make a difference if I was 10, 20, or 30 minutes late. Late is late, and it's not like I was going to get dinged for it or anything. I have a really great job and a really great boss, and I'm rarely late for work. I'm actually always really early. I usually hit the gym. So I was like, it's really not going to make a difference if I'm 20 minutes late. It's not going to make much of a difference to anybody. Like, he's probably not even there yet. So I got in my car, and I felt really bad. So I ended up ordering him, it was Carl's Jr., ordering him like a whole breakfast meal. And then I ordered some sweets because I knew that they like sweets, and a coffee and an orange juice, and I got change, and I gave him $5. And I drove back, and I said, here you go, and he's like, thank you so much. And he's like, do you have a second? And I was like, sure, why not, And he's like, before you came, I had asked other people, and they just kind of like blew me off and left. And he's like, and I was talking to God, and I was telling God that nobody cares, nobody understands, nobody cares about my situation. I've been trying to go to a food kitchen, but it's been full. There's no room for me there, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about me. And I'm gonna ask this next person for a meal. I'm gonna ask them for help, and if they don't help me, I'm going to kill myself. And I was like, oh God, I felt so bad. Like, I couldn't believe that I would have been somebody's reason to do something like that. It just really broke my heart. Like, it made me really stop and think this most smallest random act of kindness can be like somebody's life-saving moment. So he's like, you saved me. And I was like, got in my car, and I literally bawled my eyes out on the way to work because I felt so bad. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, I didn't save him, he saved me. So that's when I had that idea. I was just like, you know what, this stuff is just stuff. I'm not gonna use it. And that's what made me start donating and really get into high gear with this extreme couponing. And then after I started doing that and doing a bunch of mass donations, and it really made me think of like my situation when I was in my situation many years ago, how a little bag of something would have just released some stress off my back. It would have just like made me feel a little better. So I think the first place I donated to was a battered women's shelter. So that was the first place I donated to. And then there was the Ronald McDonald House, which is like a house for children with cancer. And then of course the homeless, and then veterans. And then my husband's like, this is great, really proud of you. He's like, but I think you could take it a step further. And I was like, he's like, why don't you just start your own nonprofit? Like, you're really good at this. So after he pushed and prodded and, said you can do it and gave me so much encouragement, that's what I did. I started my own nonprofit, and I've had it since 2016. So December 8th will be my first year having my very first official nonprofit. I will be hosting my very first toy run, which I am extremely proud of, extremely happy, and extremely terrified because I don't want anything to go wrong. And this will be my first year hosting and promoting my very first back to school drive for these kids. And that is how, and I started couponing, and that is why I coupon, why I continue to coupon and look for other ways to save money. So that's why I go to all the clearance hauls, and you'll see a lot of clearance hauls, and you'll see a lot of me hauling just a bunch of stuff that like back to school stuff and things for the homeless, anything to help somebody else out, toys, stuff like that. So that is how and why I started couponing and why I continue to coupon. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous day, and I will talk to you guys soon. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please go ahead and feel free to leave one below, and I will talk to you guys on Friday as we continue our journey on how to coupon for beginners. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.